Rocket's all ready to go. Well, folks, we're about to cut hay for the last time this year. We're going through and starting our last cutting. Are we going to go knock it all down at once? Probably not. We still have to cut Travis's down at the valley, so we might be using this one more time. Not totally sure. Today we're going through knocking down everything here on the main farms. We're going to get all of our own hay made up, and then this might be the last time that we use the Kuhn mower. So I'm going to talk about the mower a little bit more. Once we get going, I'm going to pull the 46 down and just kind of give it a quick wash down, and then we're going to head out to my place. Travis is heading out to my Klein field. He's going to mow out there. He's going to mow the pasture hillsides that I spread fertilizer on, and then hopefully when he's done there, he should come out and help me finish whatever I have left out at my place. So the first place we're going to head to is the 40. Are you ready, Rocket? Are you ready? Come on. When it was raining for literally a week straight last week, Travis and I went through and we hooked up the Kuhn FC 4060 TCR to the 4640 to save us some time when we could finally get out there and start mowing. It's a little warm. It's a real difference from last week when it was like 50s. I think it's up in the 70s today. We're cutting the pasture out here first, so I cut this last cutting, and as you can see, it's grown back, but not all that much. We're still going to harvest it because we're hoping that we can get as many bales as we can. Personally, I feel like hay is going to rally this winter pretty hard because in our area, a lot of guys got rained out. Their crops got rained, or their hay crop got rained on pretty much every time. So I think that a lot of guys struggled to get their hay made. I saw some guys chopping their hay back into the ground because it just got rained on so much if you were one of the unlucky ones. But I think everybody's got some hay that was rained on this year, so that's going to lower the quality overall, and I think overall the consumption is going to be higher. So I think that for our own sake, we need to try to get as many bales made as possible, because our yields on the hay crops were lower this year, even though we planted quite a bit. So there is enough here to justify cutting it one last time, and then that'll give it time to regrow before we get a hard frost, so it can store more carbohydrates back in the roots so it comes back strong next year. So we're gonna go ahead and fire it up. Time to cut the ryegrass regrowth. I just got done mowing the 40 out here. Now you guys will notice that we have these nice narrow windrows that the mower made. I narrowed up the shrouds on the back to make the windrows narrow as possible, because we just got done having a week straight of rain, so the ground is fairly soft and wet. So I've been taking it slower. I've been trying to take it easy because I don't want to rip up the ground. You can see that the 46 was sinking in pretty good there. But the plan is to have it narrowed up. That'll let the ground dry out before we come through and ted it. Depending on how thick or light the stuff is, if it'll get tedded. Personally, I'm not that big on tedding. I wouldn't mind just coming out here and rolling the stuff over. I think it'd be a lot easier on the stuff, but we'll just have to wait and see for what it looks like down inside the hay after a day or two. So they aren't calling for any more rain in the forecast. That gives us a chance to get all the hay made, and that way we can just be done with this and focus on harvesting, which is going to be coming up fairly soon. I'd always expect about the 1st of October is when we seriously look at it. So you can notice the difference right here between the stuff that has already been exposed to the sun. The sun's already starting to degrade the chlorophyll in the plants, and it's starting to get bleached out, whereas underneath it's still nice and green there, as you can see, because I flipped it over. Since there are wildfires raging out in California, we've been having kind of a haze over us the last week or so, and it could affect our drying. It could affect plant growth out here as well at the end of the season. At this point, since we just cut it, I don't think that it's going to really be affecting us like that, but for the amount of sunlight that we're getting, this is actually supposed to be a nice, clear, sunny day out. But I looked at the radar and I noticed that the smoke from California was going up the coast, up to Washington, and it was shooting across North and South Dakota, coming down through Minnesota and coming down across us. But yeah, it's supposed to be a nice sunny day out. On the camera, you can probably see, depending on how it makes the sky, a nice blue. When to my eye, it actually looks kind of hazy out, and the sunlight just looks washed out. It's not as harsh as it usually is. So that's one of the signs that we're getting some of that smoke over here. It isn't all that uncommon. Every couple years or so, there's a big wildfire event out in California, out west, and we tend to see the smoke from it. But that'll clear up in probably like a day or two once the wildfires are under control. So good luck to everybody that's out in California. I've been hearing about all the horrifying stuff that's going on out there with all the fires. It's very tragic. Definitely be very scary to be evacuated like that. So we're gonna hop back in the 46. We're gonna head out to my place and start mowing out there. But I'll come back out tomorrow and check this to see how it's drying. I just dropped the wide kit on the back of the mower, and it definitely makes a difference. So I was running it over here on the left with it down, and then at the end of the row down there, I put it up because I wanted to see if there was a difference, and I could tell on the camera that when I had it up, the hay wasn't traveling up alongside the top of the mower enough on the inside and hitting those fins. So I put it back down, and you can definitely see how nice and wide these big, beautiful windrows are. And then we come over here where I didn't have it down, and there's a lot of inconsistency. So having that wide kit on there, that really makes a difference. Wow. Yeah, I'd say that wide kit is definitely worth having on there, because what we're gonna have now, since I dropped it back down and we're gonna be having these windrows on the left again, is that they're gonna be a lot more consistent. The air is gonna be able to go through more evenly, whereas over here, we've got no hay that's going to be drying here, so it's bare to the ground, and it's throwing it off to the sides more. So this will have a tough time drying. Not saying that it's going to have a tough time drying, but it may, depending on how thick the material is. Up here, it doesn't matter so much, but if you're in real heavy material, it's definitely going to matter. But that definitely makes a big difference. I dropped it back down, so we're gonna keep going. Oh, come on. We're not getting anywhere. Oh boy. Oh no. It's wet. Hit the national spray. give this another shot. Momentum is your friend. I am speed. Alright. Stay out of my way. Right there. Alright. Here goes! Hit the diff! Woohoo! Oh, that was close. Okay. I'm not going back down there again. It's just a little muddy. That, I had options. I probably could have tried making it around the corner and gone out into the pasture and swinging it around and making a run for it. But if it gets to a point where it's just too muddy, there's no point in even trying to get out. It's just call someone and have them try to pull you out while you still have some traction to help push yourself out with. right one, as you can see, is with the John Deere. I really think that the Kuhn does make a nicer windrow than the 735. What? Are you ready to go home? Had a long day riding around the tractor? Yeah, I bet. We're back at the farm now. This is probably the last video that the Kuhn FC4060 TCR is going to be in. So I figured I'd just kind of give you guys a couple of my final thoughts after using it all summer and share my feelings on it. So overall, this mower worked very well for us. We didn't have any kind of issues with it. It did a really good job mowing. And a couple things that I really do like about it is the quick change system that they have going on, where you just have the spring-loaded knives, where you just stick the tool in and drop them out and put the new ones in. That's really nice. Probably the best thing for me for that is that you can change the knives out in the field, no problem. You don't have to take anything with you, no impact or anything like that. All you need is the tool, and you can change all the blades out. So if you hit a rock or something, easy to change. Another thing that I really liked was the fact that this unit, that they did put the wide kit on it. So this is the wide kit. As you guys may have seen me change it around. All you really got to do is flip it around, and these fins direct the windrow back outward. Overall, I think that what I would do if I could have this again next year would be to take the shrouds out for the earlier crops and then put them in for this crop that we just cut. Mostly because the later crops are more light, so the windrows, we make them more narrow. Travis and I were just talking, we're not sure. We're gonna try to see if we can get away without tedding this crop. That's what I would like to do, but the 40 that I cut first was a little bit thicker, and I think that might use a tedding, but we'll just have to wait and see how it dries down. So I haven't had to do any adjustments on this past the initial setup of when we first got it, and getting it on the 46. Hooking it up is a breeze with that hitch. I actually really do like that. You just stick the pin in and you get a crescent wrench, you tighten down the hitch, and then you just back up to the unit and you can drop it right on. I'm not a big fan of 3-point mounted anything, I'm gonna be honest. Mostly just because it is kind of hassle to hook anything up with unless you know whatever you're hooking up to. Travis has got hooking up to the other mower basically down to an exact science by this point. But I think that having something like this really does save time for just about anybody, because we can put this on in no time. Travis and I together put the other John Deere mower on in probably 5 minutes with the two of us by the time we got the PTO and all the hoses on. And I really don't have any complaints about the unit itself. I really do like that it was a 13-foot mower, so it's got a wider cutting width, and I do think that the windows that it made were a little bit better than the John Deere's. It seems that it puts, it might just because of the rollers, I think that it puts the hay through the unit more evenly, whereas the flails just kind of beat the crap out of the hay. And I noticed that when we were doing side-by-sides that he had bigger lumps and clumps. So I think that overall the dry down time would be faster. Although I guess with flails you're shredding the crop more, so it's exposing more surface area, exposing more of the inside of the plant to the air. So I guess that could be a reason for the flails would dry down faster, but a roller is easier on the hay. And I do like the roller, I think, a little bit more than the flails for that reason. I think it preserves the crop a little bit better. Travis, I know he'll prefer the flails because he does a lot of grass. We have a lot of grass here too. I want to start getting back more into alfalfa on my own stuff. This year I was more impressed with the alfalfa than the ryegrass that we put down. Mostly I just wasn't crazy about the yield of the ryegrass, and I would have preferred to get 3 good cuttings off of alfalfa versus 2 meh cuttings off of the rye. So this might be one of the last times you guys see this unit. It worked great for me. I want to give Kuhn a big thank you for sending this thing down. It really helped out. It saved us so much time having another mower here, and we might go cut a little bit more with it yet. But I'm gonna unhook this tomorrow and go hook up to the rake, because we're thinking about baling this Friday, which is 3 or 4 days. of the hay out in the field. So depending on how fast it dries down, with all that haze in the upper atmosphere, all that smoke, hopefully it won't affect the dry down time at all with the haziness that we've got out there. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Harvest is right around the corner. We're gonna be out there in no time. As you guys saw, something interesting on the drone footage was the corn. There's a lot of damage out there, even on my place. Most of the damage is here at the main farm and out there. Travis's place was mostly spared, although there is a lot of damage out there too. So I'll keep you guys posted on how the yields turn out. So anyway, with that, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, all how farms work. And with that, I'll see you next time.